All right, here we are. Part 5, Gone with the Wind. We're finished with the book. I can't believe it. I was thinking about the other day, thinking this book is the longest book I've ever read.
Yeah.
And you never think you're going to get to the end of it because it's so long. But
I know.
Here we are.
In general, are you happy with how it ended?
I don't know.
I guess we'll get there.
I'm interested to see. Yeah, I don't know.
Interested to see what I thought?
Yeah, and if there's the next book. Now I'm
the
like,
sequel.
Now I feel like I can't stop with the people. Like it's like you
Yeah.
get gotten so invested in them now that it's like,
I know.
to quit reading. Tricky.
My one friend has read this like 4 or 5 times said she's purist.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't want to read any of the other.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like that too with like movies. You know, I don't like sequels or anything,
Right?
Remakes or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I do. I feel like there's more. Even though this was so much story, I feel like there could be more.
Yeah.
Especially the way it ends.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
Exactly.
So how does part 5 start?
They're in New Orleans on their honeymoon.
Right.
Rhett and Scarlett.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
she's, they're having a great time because they're spending money and going out, and she says,
meeting new people.
We're a handsome people.
Yeah.
She's finally kind of realizes that Rhett's like good looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that he was right, that marriage can be fun.
Yes, she's the same marriage with Rhett was far different from Charles and Frank. He tells her about plans to build them a house.
Yep.
In Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
But he also talks about, he kind of like, he's still going to let her have her businesses.
Yeah.
But he says there's never going to be any doubt in anybody's mind about who wears the pants
Mm-hmm.
in the Butler family. Like
and that is true for their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's the only person that's stronger than her, basically.
Yeah.
And she says something like that, or it's mentioned throughout.
Yeah, she knows that she can't, coerce him the way she could the other men.
Yeah.
But he wants people, he says, you can still do that stuff, but know that I'm not going to put money into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just your thing, and Yep. So that's interesting.
Is that...
Oh, but then there's that part where that Philippe name, remember when Ellen was dying and she said Philippe? So that comes in, that's the next chapter.
Okay, is there something else in this one?
I was
don't
trying to
have
think.
anything else marked.
No, they just talked about the house, what she wanted to look like, like a Swiss chalet.
Yeah.
And talking about the people. But no.
And does she build it in this one? Or does it just kind of end when they come home?
Yeah, that's it. I don't think there's anything about the house in this one. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So then the next chapter.
Yes. It's like, I guess they're talking about... Yeah, so it starts with Mrs. Elsing, I guess, and Melanie. They're all talking, I guess, at the ladies' sewing circle.
Uh-huh.
And they say something about Ellen. I went to school with Ellen in Savannah, and there was never a lovelier girl. If only her father had not opposed her match with her cousin, Philippe Robillard.
Yep.
So
I didn't even catch that.
I know, I was like, Philippe? Like, or Philippe,
Yes.
how do you say it? I just
Yes.
remembered that from that, yep.
It's so funny, all the things that you, like, what was that? The name of the book, Gone with the Wind. You used to had skipped over that.
Yeah.
And then I skipped over this.
Yes.
Like, these key things,
But not one of us catches it, the other one.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why it's fun to read with someone else.
Yeah. So that's who it was, Philippe. And I guess she wanted to maybe marry him, but ended up marrying Gerald.
Yeah.
She run off and marry old man O'Hara. And have a daughter like Scarlett,
Right.
So they got on to Scarlett then.
Always intermarrying their
cousins.
and stuff.
I guess that was a thing. I don't know. But then they talked about, the ladies were talking about Scarlett and talking not nice about her.
Mm-hmm.
And then Melanie defended her.
Right, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she said, and if you won't go call on her, then don't come call on me. Like, she was like, if you're not going to be friends with her, don't be friends with me. Yeah. Yeah. So there was that, and then they're talking about new people in Atlanta, and this always has quotes around it, new people.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the old guard, they called them like the Merriweathers and Mrs. Elsing and all those people that were in Atlanta when Scarlett had lived there before was the old guard. And now there were these new people coming. They all had money, but how they had their money was not. Yeah, they were kind of trashy.
Scallywags.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But that's the one thing they had in common was their money.
And these are like Scarlett and Rhett's people now.
Yeah, they're new people.
Yeah.
So Scarlett, I don't think Rhett cares for him as much
Yeah.
as she does, but she thinks, well, we have this in common, and I don't care about those other people anymore. If they don't like me, then I'm just gonna, have these people over.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then they talk about the house.
Yeah. at this line, she knew by now that Rhett loved to take her down a peg, and would, I just thought that was funny because you see that every time that goes back to him being stronger than her. He just always wants to.
Yeah, but he spoils her really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, gives her whatever she wants.
But you find out more in the end, kind of why he.
Mm-hmm.
Because he loves her all this time, and he just wants to give her whatever she wants.
Yeah.
But he can't let her
She's
know.
a brat.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so weird. Like she can't let on, but it's this constant back and forth. It just drives you crazy.
Yeah, it does.
The whole end of this book.
And
the whole book.
she'd like want to say something, and then she
Yeah,
like,
no,
wouldn't
I can't
say
give
it.
into
It's
that.
like she would get right there, and then she wouldn't say it, and it's like,
I know.
You're killing me.
Just tell each other you love each other.
Right? Why is it
You're
so difficult?
married already.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought so. What is there anything else before they have everybody over?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the house was the next kind of the grand house, and
So it said for Scarlett's housewarming or crush,
yes,
as it was fashionable to call such evening parties, half reception, half ball, was by far the most elaborate affair Atlanta had ever seen. I noted that because of the word crush.
Yeah, I thought that was
Precious
interesting.
people. Or something,
Yeah,
crush.
it's very interesting.
So what?
She said she just goes on about money. Oh, what fun it was to be rich. She plans this big ball. But she had invited the old guard, and the new people, thinking, okay, I just want to show everything off. But the new people, so it was kind of hard. Even family was invited, but she invited the governor, and he wasn't liked by all these people. So some of the family weren't very happy about that, and even left before he got there. And Melanie was one that wasn't happy about her decision to do that. So here she is trying to bring the people together and maybe get on this, but then she got on bad sides again.
Yeah.
So it's just all about.
Didn't work out.
Yeah. Not at all.
I guess it's still kind of like that today, but
Yeah.
it was so much more about. I don't know. There's probably still class different. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same.
Yeah. It was more obvious than I felt like that.
And they were like small towns. I mean, even though there was a lot of people there, it just seemed like everyone knew everyone or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, I just talked about the new people were like a motley crew, just lots of different types of people, how they got their money, not always the best ways that they got their money, but they all had money, like Rhett. We don't really know how he got all his money necessarily, but carpetbagger society.
Yeah.
Scallywags, yeah. We say that word, scally, like people use that funny, but it was like a term they used.
Is it in...
Scallywag. Who says that?
Yeah, it's Johnny Depp, isn't it?
Okay.
Or does he say that like in the Pirates of the Caribbean?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
No, I don't know. It sticks in my head. I can't.
It might be like a pirate term too.
It
sounds like that.
I kept hearing that in my head, and I can't remember what it's from.
I know. We'll think
if
of
I think of it, I'll note it here. I don't know.
Right. Rhett didn't like the house. I remember him saying something like, it was just too much. Like, ooh, but he did it for her, or whatever she liked.
Yeah.
He'd go with it. But I think it was just kind of gaudy.
Which is funny for him because he does care about like fashion and how things look. So
I think he just thought a little too much, but that's Scarlett. All right, chapter 50. Okay. Doesn't really start out with anything major, but she talks about like, why did you marry me? I feel like they go into this a lot. Yep. And he says, I married you to keep you for a pet, my dear. Never really, neither of them let on that they love each other. Yeah. It's just annoying.
Not at the same time anyway. Or else he kind of does. He admitted originally.
Yeah.
But she never.
Yeah, she never will. But she finds out she's gone to the doctor about a digestive upset and she's going to have a baby.
Yeah.
But she tells Rhett she'll get rid of it. And that's the first I, heard of something like that back then. And who told you could do that? Like he's freaked out about it, like mad. Like who told you could do that? Mammy Bart or whoever she is, and she's never coming in this house. Like he's very upset. Mm-hmm.
But at the end of that part, he says, well, you see, I've invested a good deal of money in you, and I'd hate to lose it.
Right.
Because he's worried she will die. I'm like, why doesn't she know then that he really does care about her? He doesn't want her to die.
Yeah. I mean, that's what he gets the most upset about. I feel not more as much as the child as her. Like he's like, do you realize you could die too?
Yes.
Like you both could die.
Right.
Yeah. So good for him.
And then it just skips.
It skips right to the baby.
Birth.
Yeah.
And they name her?
It's a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And they first name her. I mean, the first
name
they come up with is Eugenie Victoria.
That is really her name.
Yeah.
But they call her
Bonnie. Because they said something about Bonnie Blue. So Bonnie Blue Butler. Yeah, they call her Bonnie.
Bonnie Blue something was the song.
Yeah, Bonnie Blue, the flag, about the flag.
Bonnie Blue flag.
Mm-hmm. That was interesting.
And I had this noted that Wade was really worried about her.
Yes, he was, because in labor, I don't think he understood.
He was like, "What if she's sick? What if she dies?"
Yeah, yeah. It was the first time you're like, "Oh, Wade, you do love your mom."
Yeah, he does even.
Yeah.
And Rhett's just overjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
So glad it's not a boy.
Yeah, it's just so weird because back then I feel like they just wanted sons to carry on, and But
and he drinks with Wade.
Yeah.
Like a little toast.
Yeah.
Way watered down.
Yeah. And then he kind of has a bonding moment with him. He says something about, do people like girls better than boys? And no, I can't say they do. And then he says, "You're boy enough for me, son." Like, yeah, I've already got a son. You're my boy, aren't you? It's cute. It's very cute.
But everyone thinks that he is going to be upset
Yeah.
about it being a girl.
Yeah, but he's definitely not upset.
Embarrassing circumstance that his firstborn was a girl.
Mm-hmm. But he took to her pretty quickly.
Yep. And there really is, that's just, Bonnie Blue Butler.
Yeah, it doesn't even say till the end about her name. Yeah. Her parents didn't even realize that she had been named for 2 queens. That's cute. All right.
So then 51.
51. Oh, she's mad about her waist size after having the baby, like being, she's doing her, what is that? Her corset or whatever,
seams.
like, do it a little tighter. I gotta be a little bit, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's just the way it is. She's ready to go out again, ready to go to the mills, and the one reason she says, miss the daily contact with Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Get over it.
And working by Ashley's side was her greatest pleasure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then she goes to the mill and sees Ashley, and then decides, I don't know, do you have anything about their conversation?
No, not really. Not anything noted specifically.
Okay, well, this is when she decides she wants to have separate bedrooms, because I think she thinks if Ashley and Melanie aren't able to interact in the adult way because she's not supposed to have children for fear of death, then if she and Rhett aren't, then maybe they could be like, really? I don't know.
I feel like,
or she just thinks she
sounds
doesn't
like
want
that,
to be
but
with
she's
them.
like,
She doesn't want to have children anyway.
yeah.
And clearly you can't really do anything about it back then other than stop doing the act.
Yeah.
So, but she wants to have separate bedrooms, which is stupid.
Yeah. So she does that, and has she come home and told him that at this
I think
chapter?
because she says, she'll lock my door every night or whatever. Yeah.
And he's like,
whatever.
he can go get that somewhere else.
Yes, there's many women's beds, I think
Yeah.
she says. And I'm like, great.
Yeah.
It's one of those relationships, which stinks.
But then I always wonder, does he really go over there and like sleep with anyone
yeah,
else?
or is he just going
over there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
hanging
I'm
out?
sure he probably is, but
I don't
just
know.
I just
he definitely
wonder-
seems like that kind of man, but at the same time, I don't know. That's what's frustrating, but it's fine. Okay.
So that's end of 51.
Yep.
Start of 52.
Wade's upset because he didn't get invited to a party.
Mm-hmm.
Any of those old guard people, he doesn't get invited to. And so I think Rhett realizes, like, this is hurting our kids, what we've done. So he's thinking, I'm going to do better for Bonnie because now that I have my own child, of his blood, and I'm going to do better. So I think he kind of
even deeper has more of a conversation and a bonding moment with Wade over that because he's
like, man, he's really upset about this. Where Scarlett's like, oh, you don't want to go to that anyway. And Wade, or Rhett's like, no, this is hurting him.
And it's going to hurt Bonnie. Like, he's so tight with Bonnie that he's thinking she can't marry well. Like, she won't have anybody.
Right.
I feel like he wants for Bonnie what Scarlett had, and so he's like trying everything to get
make
there.
It that way. Doesn't want them to be seen as the outcasts like they are currently seen.
So in the and you are no, but then it's my fault too. I've gone through life like a bat out of hell, never caring what I did because nothing ever mattered to me. But Bonnie matters.
Yeah.
God, what a fool I've been. Bonnie wouldn't be received in Charleston no matter what my mother or your Aunt Eulalie or Aunt Pauline did, and it's obvious that she won't be received here unless we do something quickly.
Yeah.
And so he decides to do something, and Scarlett is like, I don't care.
Yeah, she just doesn't care what people think. It's just because I don't think she's ever cared, and it doesn't matter to her as long as she gets what she wants.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if people care, which is just sad. Because
So
she just made friends.
He decides basically to turn a 180 and woo all of the old guard people and just become one of them. And so, isn't that basically how the rest of this chapter is? All of him trying
to go to church. I feel like he's gonna go to church and do all the he just kind of turns into a different guy, taking life more seriously now that he is a dad. Yeah, he even asks for some advice from Mrs. Merriweather about Bonnie sucking her thumb.
Yes.
He's a very doting dad.
And she's like, oh, if he cares this much about his,
that
means something to her.
Yeah. Everybody starts to see him in a different light, that's for sure.
And he's taking Bonnie around. I don't know if they've mentioned that at this point, but just taking, he's
everywhere
riding the
he
horse,
goes.
he's taking her everywhere.
Everybody notices what a good father he is, for sure.
Right. So he gets in with everybody.
Yeah. Oh, and then it becomes starts having night terrors, and she's afraid of the dark. So he, Scarlett's like, oh, just let her scream for a while, it'll be fine. But he's like, no, like he's gonna coddle her. So they have separate bedrooms. So Bonnie just starts sleeping in his bedroom on her own bed, but right next to his bed, and that way he can be right there to protect her.
And he's very insistent about like she's not to be in the dark, and she's to have a candle all the time,
and if anybody doesn't do that, then they're gonna be he's really serious about it. Interesting.
It's just funny because they have all this money. It's just like they just live a life of leisure. Like he can just do it on her all the time.
I know. And I feel like since they've separate bedrooms and things are not the way they were, he's been drinking more and coming home drunk and stuff like that.
Right, and at the end he's like he wants a kiss, like, Bonnie, give me a kiss, and she's like, nasty.
Yeah.
Smell nasty. Uncle Ashley don't smell nasty.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, Uncle Ashley.
And then it's like he swears off drinking after that, basically.
He's always like, I feel like Bonnie is, got him. Yep.
So 53.
Yeah.
Melanie is preparing for Ashley's surprise party.
Yep.
And tell me if I skipped and missed something, but basically they're getting ready for the party and everybody knows about it, and they're like, somebody needs to go distract Ashley at work so we can finish
stay a little longer.
So they ask Scarlett to go and distract him, and so she does. And so was there anything else before she actually goes?
I don't think so. That was it. But he ends up knowing about the party. He says something about, why, Scarlett, what are you doing downtown? Aren't you supposed to be helping at the party?
Yeah.
Well, actually, you're not supposed to know about that. Yeah.
And he says that all the men had warned him because all of them have had a surprise party planned for them, and then they've been like too drunk, or they're too tired, or they don't show up, or they whatever, and he's like,
they're all making sure he's gonna be there. Yeah, it's funny. That was very funny.
I don't really remember what they end up talking about, but they have this long conversation, right? About what?
Yeah.
They're just commiserating about everything.
Scarlett, you get prettier all the time. I feel like he talks about her. They kind of have just like that, how they always have this little loveness about them between the two of them every time they're together.
And she actually realizes that she doesn't love him like she thought.
Yeah.
Like she decides, like, I don't have that anymore. I just feel this friendliness towards him now. It's not this.
I think it's just a fondness. Thing. Yeah.
And so she wants to grieve about something. She was upset about something.
Yeah.
I thought. Anyway, she's upset. She starts to they're just commiserating the old days, and she's missing Ellen and all of that. And so she's like, they begin to hug, and then the door opens.
Yeah. And they're
caught.
Yeah.
In a hug.
Yeah. It's not Melanie. It's
It's
Mrs. Elsing,
Archie,
the
and
old guy,
India.
and India, the sister. And that's like, oh, yeah.
Not okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even worse, like then, because just even like any kind of touch was like worse, you know.
Yeah.
And she flees.
Mm-hmm.
And what are we gonna do? Melanie, she's worried about Melanie, which you think later she does like. Why doesn't she recognize that she really does care about Melanie?
Yeah, I know.
I won't think of it now. She locks herself in her room, and
Because I'm not going to go to the party. I'm not going to go. Yep.
Because she doesn't want to show up there and all the drama. And Rhett's like, "No, you're going."
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised.
Get dressed, and we're going.
Yep.
If I have to drag you by the neck and plant my boot on your ever so charming bottom every step of the way. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then she shows up, and Melanie walks over, right? And she's like, "Hi, come here. Will you help me receive the guests?"
Yeah. Which she wasn't originally invited to receive the guests, and she was kind of upset about that at first. But now it's like, yeah, come, welcome the guests with me.
And
like
so now she's like, what do they say? Hiding behind Melanie's skirts now. Like now she has to just
put on her happy face and be there for Melanie now. Yep. But India, so I didn't even think about India. She probably didn't want to come because she felt maybe weird about the situation too. She saw she saw with Ashley. Yeah. Anyway, okay.
Got 54. Tomorrow was another day. Tomorrow she would think of some excuse. Anyway, there's so many times she says that.
Well, yeah, she said, this one paragraph alone, she says it a lot.
Bunch. So,
would he hate her now, her darling, honorable Ashley, because she had shamed him? God, she's gonna get off this guy. But I feel like because they've known each other, then I was thinking about this later, like they've known each other since childhood, and he's probably been in her hearts that long, so I guess it's hard to just write him off. But when he got married to another woman, I would have just said, this is done. Oh, something about, okay, she keeps saying she threw on her wrapper. What the heck is a wrapper? Like a robe?
I thought it was just like a shawl.
Yeah.
That's what I envisioned every time, was like,
yeah, but I feel like sometimes she doesn't have a wrapper on. She's already on under her wrapper.
Yeah, she probably has like just what is it? What do they say?
Chemise or whatever. Yeah. He's drunk though.
They argue.
Yes.
They have they're arguing this whole time. Okay. This is their big argument.
Yes, this is a big argument.
Because obviously,
he's a drunk.
It is. He's has a right to be upset.
Yeah. I mean about the Ashley situation, and then they haven't been together because they've been sleeping in different bedrooms. So there's all this pent up energy.
What's weird is he gets really physical with her. Like
she's like, "Take your hands off me," because he's so drunk. I think he just gets, and then you don't realize your physical. Yes. How your grip is tight when you're.
But he also has just such a sharp tongue, too, all the time. And so he's being mean with his words, and he's being rough with physical. And then he takes her upstairs, and they sleep together one time.
Yep.
He's gone the next day.
Yep.
But she's, scared.
Wouldn't have known that he was there had it not been for the, pillow being messed up or something. Yeah.
She was scared of him, but at the same time, she's kind of like, oh, I
kind
of like this passionateness of this.
Yeah. Because, my God, they're crazy.
She doesn't know where he's been.
Yeah.
But he...
She also says, two things. She had lived with him, she'd slept with him, she'd eaten with him, she'd quarreled with him, she bore a child, and she didn't know him. The man who had carried her up the dark stairs was a stranger, of whose existence she had not dreamed. It's like she still didn't really know him.
Yeah.
Parts of it. You still, over time, I feel like there's still things about people you're like, oh, you like that? I didn't even know, but
she doesn't know anybody.
Yeah.
Because she's so self-involved.
She doesn't try to get to know anybody.
But I feel like you said, we all learn things.
Even over time. Mm-hmm. And being married.
And people do change a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely do. Yeah.
So he leaves, and he takes Bonnie.
Says I'm gonna go for a
Yeah.
while and take Bonnie with me. Yeah.
So that's all I have for chapter 55. That
She didn't really want him to take Bonnie, but
no,
he did.
but she also Bonnie's her favorite, but she also still doesn't
I know. Have this thing for any of the kids.
give them any kind
Yeah.
of attention or anything.
Yeah. He's a better dad than she is a mom, unfortunately. All right, so chapter 55.
She's talking to Melanie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't need to talk about this.
Yeah, she doesn't.
I
Melanie's
don't
just,
believe that. I don't believe this. And
do you think I believe that you and my Ashley? Why the idea?
is this one where Scarlett's talking about she wants to come clean, but she doesn't? Or is that?
Well, yeah. No, I don't know that she's wanted to come clean. She just really thinks of Scarlett and all the things that she's done for her and Ashley. Like, she says unselfish things, which at first I felt like when Scarlett was providing for everybody at Terra, she was being selfless, but she's taken Melanie for granted all these years, for sure.
With one of the few adult emotions Scarlett had ever had, she realized that to unburden her own tortured heart would be the purest selfishness. So she would be ridding herself of her burden and laying it on the heart of an innocent and trusting person. So she wanted to confessing what she did would unburden herself.
Yeah, which
I've been there, and that doesn't really do as much as you want it to do.
Yeah.
But I wondered, was that the right thing to do? Would it have been really the right thing to do to confess it to her, or would that just make it worse?
Make their relationship as nothing. But at least you would know that, and you could say, "Can you forgive me?" I mean, if Scarlett was willing to say, "This is the way I've been, but I'm not going to be this way anymore," then that would be one thing. But I don't know if she would say it like that.
Yeah. And she,
Yeah. But she does want to explain. Melly, I must explain about the other day or whatever. She starts to talk about it, and then I can't tell her. Not even if my conscience kills me.
And Rhett had said something
Like,
to
let
her.
that be your cross.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Melanie loves you and cares about you, and
Just let that be your cross. Yeah.
I've toted lots of weary loads, but this is going to be the heaviest and most galling load I've ever toted. So.
Yeah, and they never did talk. I mean, eventually it says Melanie was as good to her word, and she never mentioned it again.
What happens once that?
Stuck by Scarlett's side.
I wondered why did those three people show up at the mill?
Yeah, I wondered, just to be like, were they running really late? And they were like, especially those three together, kind of, Mrs. Elsing, why? Yeah.
Well, what I think is none of those people liked Scarlett.
Yeah.
They all, not just the normal amount of loathing of Scarlett, but even more.
Especially India.
So I'm like, did
and
India
Archie was driving
put them up to it? Let's go.
You and me, Mrs. Elsing.
They're alone.
Archie,
we know they're alone.
Yeah. And Archie drove them, so that's why he was there. So yeah, that probably makes sense. It's like they wanted to catch him. Yeah.
Which.
Yeah, I feel like India.
You just made it like
you
you want it, if that was what happened, if India was the one, you just. You started. You opened a can. Yeah. You stirred the pot.
Yeah, big time. On purpose. It's like you could have just let it alone. And if Scarlett wanted to say something, I don't know.
Or have a word with Scarlett. It's like they both knew why the other didn't like, but they never spoke about it. And it's like that would have been better, is just to have it out with Scarlett instead of
and say say whatever you want to her, but just tell her that how you feel.
Because now you've hurt your brother by doing that.
Anyway. I know, such a mess.
So then the town is now split between the two sides. Was there anything else from that chapter?
Yeah, I felt like it just went back and forth. And Pity loved this, and Melanie this, and this, and
They just were.
Some people
sides.
believed she was innocent, and not only because of her, Scarlett's virtue, but because Melanie believed it. Like, some people just were on that side because Melanie was on that side, and they believed her because she's,
she's the epitome of virtue.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, chapter 56. Rhett's been gone for about 3 months. Scarlett has not heard from him at all.
Yeah.
So, no idea where he's been.
She never goes to see Ashley. She hardly sees him.
She wasn't feeling great, but
Yeah.
she still went out every day.
She's lonely without him and Bonnie, and she missed her Bonnie more than she thought.
She didn't go to Ashley's mill during this time ever.
Right.
I feel like she kind of stopped doing that. Yeah, lonely.
She hears. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
She hears from the aunt. Is that what you're gonna say?
No.
No. Then go ahead.
Oh, Dr. Mead told her she was pregnant.
Oh.
So, yeah. That one night of passion. There we go. Another baby.
Takes one time.
Yep.
Is that before
I think that's before.
the letter? So she gets a letter from her aunt,
Yeah.
and they're like, "We heard all these rumors. We can't believe it. Blah blah blah." And she gets mad about it. She just chucks the letter. But she knew that Rhett and Bonnie were in the country. They hadn't gone out of the country.
Right.
And
yeah, the letter was just talking about how unwomanly she was being. Such unwomanly. And what will your children think, you know?
And she wanted Rhett to come home. Like, she has nothing with Ashley. Rhett's not there to make her laugh, you know. And then they come back
Without warning.
like,
Yep.
surprisingly.
She just hears the sound of luggage being thumped on the floor and Bonnie's voice, "Mother!"
Yeah.
Yep.
And she's happy to see her and all that.
Yeah.
You're looking pale, Mrs. Butler. Is there a rouge shortage?
Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh.
He just, like, they can't ever just say anything nice to each
Can't
other.
just give
They're
her a
always
kiss.
like,
Hi, welcome home, honey. Like, why didn't you just walk up to him first? Well, I'm so glad you're
Yes.
here. But why? Neither
she's
of
too
them.
proud.
Neither
They
of
both
them.
are.
It's so annoying.
This could be Pride and Prejudice. Like,
Seriously.
there's very, very pride in here.
But so he says that, like, if I'm pale, it's your fault, not because I've missed you, you conceited thing. And then it's because I'm going to have a baby. Well, who's the happy father?
Yeah.
Ashley, he asks.
You are, you idiot.
Yeah. And I don't want it any more than you do. And I think she really did. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he says, cheer up. Maybe you'll have a miscarriage.
Yeah. Ugh. That's horrible. Horrible.
But this was like the one time that this is like the first pregnancy she really was sort of happy. Because I think she thought it would like bring them back together after all that.
Yes. After they had their moment and then he went away for a while, like maybe this would be, And I would thought that too. But then it's kind of like she gets all mad and she kind of lunges for him.
Yeah.
Like
and they're at the top of the stairs.
Yeah. And then she tumbles.
And he like moves.
Yeah. Like he meant to. And she falls all the way down the stairs. And hurts herself really bad.
And of course loses the baby.
Yes.
Which they never actually come out and say.
The baby I could have
sick.
had or something like that, they keep saying.
And she's really sick.
Like she could die.
Mm-hmm.
Broken rib, and she's just all a mess. And I think probably from losing the baby, you could obviously bleeding and stuff.
I mean,
like that.
especially back then, that you just kind of had to like.
Yeah. You couldn't
have
just.
it naturally, or like your body just had to do what it was made to do. And
so it could be a lot of bleeding and a lot of pain, a lot of pain.
And she's in and out, like very delirious, and she can kind of hear people talking, and she can hear Rhett. Or see him, like it's like she can see through the door.
He's out the door. He's not in there. Yeah,
he's in his room, but she can like see it.
Yeah, and she knows Melanie because Melanie says, "I've been here the whole time."
And she asks for Melanie, doesn't she? Asks the doctor,
but she never asks for Rhett.
Yeah. But there's this whole part.
Go ahead.
Where Melanie's in with Rhett, and he is distressed and like has his head in her lap, and she's like he's on the floor. What is happening? Yeah. And she's like trying to soothe him and take care of him, and
he's just really upset about like she's dead. Like he kind of and she does get better. I mean, she says no, she's getting much better.
Yeah.
But he's just distraught, and he cries like, and she's like, she's never seen a man cry like that, like
especially that kind of man.
Yeah. And then he just starts to say things.
Yep.
Like he pours out his heart to her.
All of unburdens himself.
Sins.
Everything.
Yeah. And she's like, hush, it's not fit. I was drunk and insane and I wanted to hurt her because she'd hurt me and, Yeah. So I think he feels really, really bad about what happened to her.
Oh, he says, but she never cared. She doesn't love me. She never has. She loves. And then he just trails off. You know.
He realizes, oh, this is Melanie. Yeah.
And then he kind of like sobers up a little bit.
Yeah.
So. And yeah. So basically, that's how that chapter ends. Is that she's just soothing him, and he whatever.
Don't cry. She's going to get well. Yep.
And then chapter 57, they're putting her on a train with Wade and Ella to go to Tara to like for convalescence. I guess.
Yeah. And she's pale and thin, and you know.
As she had once fled Atlanta before an invading army, so she was fleeing it again, pressing her worries into the back of her mind with her old defense against the world. I won't think of it now. I can't stand it if I do. I'll think of it tomorrow at Tara. Tomorrow's another day. Back and forth between Tara and... But really, in this chapter, she doesn't really... Like, Tara... Like, ever since she gets back from Tara, she doesn't really talk... Like, once she gets it settled where it was, like, financially could handle it, and it was doing fine, she doesn't talk about it anymore. She's not worried about it, I guess.
Yeah.
But I always think, doesn't she want to be back there?
I know, that was her home.
But
I
she
feel like
goes
she's
here when she's convalescing.
Yeah,
So.
it's kind of her place to go when she needs to cheer up.
Yeah.
And Rhett sees her off the train, and then he goes over to Melanie's. He says he's come to talk business. And then she's like, well, you need to see Ashley about that. And I'm not smart about business, you know. But he wants to talk about Scarlett buying out Ashley's part of the mill, so that Ashley's not under Scarlett's thumb anymore.
Yeah.
And they can't be involved with each other anymore.
So Ashley owns the mills and has all that to himself.
And Scarlett won't have to be a part of it anymore.
But Rhett kind of plays it off like to take a burden off of Scarlett. But is that really his
I feel like
intention?
it's maybe partly because she has been so ill, but I think a lot of it is to get her away from Ashley even more. Yeah.
And
yeah, about time. But she can't. Melanie says we don't have the money, and so he says, well, if I give you the money, I want to do this for you. You don't have to pay me back.
We'll figure out a way so that
I'll send it to
doesn't-
Ashley.
yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah.
I mean, she does talk about being at with Sue Ellen and Will, and they have children. Talk a little bit about their children and how it's a little farm. You know, it's not the plantation that it was, but
it's
doing
doing
good.
well, and some of the other families are doing okay too. So
everybody's making it.
And she comes back and tells them all about the news. Anything else about that?
It talks about giving the mill, like having Ashley buy the mill.
Yeah.
He wants to buy me out, and then yes, but of course I told him you wouldn't sell. And Rhett's saying, well, I told him you wouldn't sell it to him or whatever, like making it Ashley's idea and it wasn't Rhett's idea. But I think because Rhett's so like that about it, she's like, well, yes, I'll sell it to him. I don't think she would originally.
It's reverse psychology, basically.
Yes. That's exactly what he's doing.
So then she does sell.
Yep.
And they argue about the management of it,
right.
a little bit.
Because Ashley's gonna do it differently because he's a different guy and he's not heartless.
That's basically
the
end of chapter 57. So
58.
Rhett was different after that. Was out late, like he,
Still with Bonnie a lot. I feel like this was probably when Scarlett's getting jealous of Bonnie because Rhett's with her more than he is with his wife, but she didn't act like she wanted him anyway, so kind of tricky.
Right.
It kind of talks about the governor resigning because he had misused public funds. So there's some changes coming with that kind of stuff in the government.
She doesn't like him taking her everywhere, so they kind of talk about that.
Yeah. And then it talks about at the end of this, it's Christmas 1871, the happiest Christmas the state had known in over 10 years.
I kind of skimmed some of this.
Yeah.
It was kind of just
once it
political
gets into
history
that,
stuff.
yeah.
But that's all I had for that chapter. I don't really have any kind of note. So, 59.
Yeah.
Chapter 59.
It's people are realizing that Bonnie is quite a little thing.
Yep.
She needs some firmness. She needs some discipline. It
Yep.
sounds like. It sounds like just Rex let her do whatever she wants, and everybody's noticing that.
This is where I started reading this morning, so it's very fresh in my mind. The rest of it I finished this morning. So they're going out. Rhett decides, Mammy says they look ridiculous out there. What does she say? A straddle in front of her paw with her dress flying up.
Yeah.
And so he was like, oh, yeah. So he gets her a pony. And so now they're riding next to each other, and she's riding side saddle and all that jazz.
Well, the pony was for all the children, but somebody doesn't like, I think it's, Ella doesn't like horses, and Wade doesn't care, and so they're just, it's really just about Bonnie.
And she wants a riding habit made out of blue velvet, and Scarlett's like, really? That's going to get dirty. And he's like, whatever she wants. Right. So she gets the riding habit in blue velvet. Jeez. And what do they do?
They decide, go ahead.
You can.
The pony's going to do some, teach the pony to jump.
Right.
Yeah. So they're doing some, stuff in the backyard with it.
They start out 2
training.
inches, and then they work up to a foot.
And she wants it to be higher and higher, Papa. She wants it to be higher. Yeah.
And so so they finally give in, and Rhett says, we'll do, 1.5 feet or something?
Yeah.
And
if you fall off, don't cry and blame me, he says.
Bonnie calls up, Mother, watch. And so Scarlett's watching out the top, the second floor, out of the window or whatever. Mother, watch me take this one. And Scarlett said, why is that ringing a bell? And then she thinks of Gerald. Yeah.
His last words, basically.
Ellen, watch me take this one. She's thinking of that in her head, and so she's crying, no, make her stop.
Wait, yeah.
But it's too late.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew this. I knew this was coming.
I didn't know she was gonna die.
in this scene, I just
clue. You don't really know until on the third night after Bonnie's death. I'm like, well, okay then, she died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Broke her neck.
Horrible.
And I'm like,
she was on a pony, but I guess jumping so high. Ponies aren't super tall.
And really, in this day and age, could they have saved her life? Maybe.
I mean, maybe she broke her neck and it was instant. Yeah, I don't know. Oh gosh. Horrible.
So you can imagine Rhett is
I'm sure
overwrought.
This was his world. That's all I can think about. Yeah.
And they're just
And Mammy she comes to Miss Melanie you gotta help us, and she's thinking, well, Scarlett? No, it's not Scarlett. It's Rhett. He's a mess. It's out of his mind. He's got Bonnie, her body, in his room. And he's making everybody turn the lights on to make sure the light stays on because she doesn't like the dark. It's so sad. Oh, he won't let her go. I understand that. Oh.
He took her to the Undertaker's and then brought her back. I mean.
Yeah. He just can't let go. And once they're not in your arms anymore, then it's really truly done. Yeah. So he's not ready.
He doesn't want to let her go.
He must have lost his mind, is what Mammy thinks.
So Mammy asks Melanie, I need you to help me because he and Scarlett are arguing about having the funeral tomorrow. Scarlett's insistent that they do, and he doesn't want to have the funeral.
Right.
And so Mammy's like, you need to come and we've got to help me. What are we gonna do?
I don't know what to do. And people listen to Melanie. She's the calm force, and
So they go over this a lot. Does she?
Yeah, they have quite a conversation.
Right, and so Melanie decides to go over there, and
what could she do? What could she say to Rhett? Yeah.
So she does. She does talk to him. We don't know what she says, but she puts him to bed.
He must have just finally come, and she must have just talked him down enough to make him realize. Yeah. Ugh, horrible.
I love that Mammy. The angels fight on her side. Because Melanie just can do that. Just has that way.
She does. Yeah. She's very mothering, very maternal, very much. Yeah. And Scarlett's not, so.
Right. Not at all.
Yeah.
So.
Chapter 60.
Did we talk about when Mammy talks to Rhett? Is that still in this chapter? She confesses about the dark thing, or is that later?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Good thinking, I don't remember that part.
Well, what's in this chapter 60?
It's just very sad.
So it must have happened because then it says that Mammy gave no explanation of her departure. So
yes.
Mammy's like, somewhere in here, she says,
yeah,
Rhett, this is my fault about the dark.
Mm-hmm.
It was my fault about the dark.
Because he was going to fire Christy or somebody else. Yeah.
And so Bonnie wasn't scared of anything, and she would never go to bed. So Mammy scared her in telling her there was monsters or ghosts or something, and so that from then on she was scared.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And what does he say to her? He says, "It's okay." He's like, he's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I think he really had a heart for Mammy. Like he trusted her judgment on things and.
So anyway, I can't remember I can't find where he's it's okay. He's like, it's all right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, not now.
Yeah.
And she just goes on and on and on. So anyway, all right, moving on. Chapter 60.
Yeah. Sad. The world is a somber, frightening wrongness that pervaded everything like a dark, impenetrable mist, stealthily closing around Scarlett.
And then Mammy leaves.
Yeah.
Because...
Yeah. It's so sad. Well, she was caring mostly for Bonnie.
Yeah. It was her own fault. She had never cared until now.
Yeah.
Now that Bonnie was dead and she was lonely and afraid. And she sat across her shining dinner table with a swarthy, sodden stranger disintegrating under her eyes. Yeah. Nobody comes to visit, That's all.
Yeah. It's a pretty short chapter. Yeah.
And then 61, Scarlett is with Ella and Wade in Marietta, and she gets a urgent telegram from Rhett.
Yep. Come quick.
I wonder how much time passed between that.
Yeah. Yeah, it had to have been some time because
Bonnie passing and
so Melanie is ill, really ill.
Very ill.
Come home immediately means she's
on the brink of death.
She says, what happened to her? She's had a miscarriage. She wasn't supposed to have any more kids because it would kill her, and that's what Scarlett says. She wasn't supposed to have it. It's killing her. Yeah.
And they were waiting to tell anybody.
It's only been a couple months, and she was so happy.
But Melanie's asking specifically for Scarlett, and the doctor is insistent that no one else go in until she's seen Scarlett.
Yeah.
So.
Like that's just her one request.
And the doctor, he's like, there's no deathbed confessions. Like,
do not say anything to her.
She needs to be just at peace when she goes.
Right,
so
right. I'm glad
there's nothing else. No, don't say anything else.
Right, just be there for her. Let her talk.
Thank goodness.
Right.
And she was Scarlett could tell she was just at the end because of all those soldiers that she had nursed.
She'd seen the end enough, yeah.
And so Melanie says, promise me you'll look after Bo.
Yeah. I gave him to you once, remember when she was pregnant, She said take care of him, and so they go back, and that's so sad.
And promise me that you'll take care of Ashley, she says. But she admits that Ashley doesn't know like he's not, what was her words?
Yeah, what does he
He catches cold so easily, and he isn't practical.
Yes.
Ashley isn't practical.
She's finally saying something about him, yeah.
Only death could have forced that disloyalty from Melanie. And so, you're so smart, so brave, you've always been good to me, and Scarlett is sobbing. I'm the devil, she's just thinking about, no, I've never done anything for you, it was for Ashley.
Yeah. Oh.
Which I think later she realizes that she did care about Melanie all this time, and she really,
she did.
She just wouldn't allow some other woman to be, everyone was a competition to her.
Yeah, exactly.
And Melanie says, be kind to Rhett, to Captain Butler, because he loves you so.
And she thought, what, Brett? Yeah. Yes, indeed. She said, automatically, not really thinking about it.
And then everybody else comes in, and Melanie goes out, or Scarlett goes out, sorry.
Yeah.
And Melanie goes out.
Right. She passes away.
I don't know that I cried anywhere in this, but I did cry.
I was gonna say this was really, really hard
hard
because she was really, yeah. And she says Melly is the only woman friend I ever had. The only woman except mother who really loved me.
Yeah.
She was
like a mother figure to her that whole time, you know, taking care of her.
Mother to a lot of people.
And encouraging her all those years.
Yeah. She was the rock in her life for a long time.
She wonders where Ashley is. She wants to go to him and be comforted. And so they have a whole conversation.
Yeah, and I'm thinking after this, I'm thinking, oh God, now she's thinking, okay, I got Ashley now. And I'm thinking, Melly's not even cold in the grave yet, but...
Yeah. But she does realize that, like, she doesn't even know him, and she's like, why have I loved him all this time?
And she says, why, Ashley, you love her, don't you? She's the only dream I ever had that lived and breathed and did not die in the face of reality. Yeah. I don't think, he never... Their thing was just the thing, like, that they'd always had. It was just a thing.
She couldn't ever get past it.
Yeah. And neither, I feel like he was kind of, still there too, but he never really loved. There wasn't this deep love. It was just this thing. This flirtatious thing,
right.
you know?
I also was thinking about how when Ashley went off to war, he asked Scarlett, promise me you'll take care of Melanie.
Yes.
She's not strong.
And now they're all
and now it's the other
way around. Yeah, it's crazy.
So she's always taking care of everyone else, even though she's not a caring person.
No.
It's like...
But that is interesting.
Or she is, but she's just, I don't know.
Just the way she goes about it isn't
inside
necessarily a nurturing way.
Right.
Yeah. That's very true.
Yeah, she like realizes he'll just be another child clinging to my skirts because it's like he can't do for himself like she wants him to be able to do. Be that.
Yeah, like Rhett.
Right.
Yeah. They're just not well matched.
And if I hadn't promised Melly, I wouldn't care if I never saw him again. Yeah. It's like the same kind of thing she said when she had to take care of Melanie. She was like, she could die for all I care.
Yes, she it has to take a lot for this woman to realize things. It really does. It's just annoying.
So 62.
Yep. She wants to go, she wants to leave, but she doesn't want Peter driving her because he's Uncle Peter driving her because he's crying, so she just starts walking. It's like 5 blocks or something, isn't that what it said?
Yes, 5 blocks.
Yeah. It's kind of misting outside and wet, but she doesn't care. Doesn't even put her bonnet on. She just goes. Yeah.
I'll think of all this tomorrow when I can stand it better. But the charm, that saying, had lost its potency. And she had to think of 2 things now. Melanie and how much she loved and needed her. Ashley. Anyway, she goes home in that fog.
Yep.
And she kind of gets nervous. And she realizes that fog is that dream that she kept having where she'd wake up crying and then Rhett would comfort her.
Yeah. And she's always in a fog.
And so now she's thinking about all these things and she realizes like she wants to be with Rhett. Like she loves him and so she sees
the lights, she sees her house, like in her dream she had never seen the lights, like she couldn't seem to get to safety.
Wasn't the end.
Yeah.
Home, that's where she wanted to go. That was where she was running. Home to Rhett.
Yep. And this realization, it was though chains fell away from her, and with them the fear which had haunted her dreams since the night she stumbled to Tara to find the world ended. Yep. This was her home. Rhett was her home, basically. It was Rhett. Strong arms to hold her, broad chest to pillow her, jeering laughter to pull her affairs into perspective.
I love him. I don't know how long I've loved him, but it's true. And if it hadn't been for Ashley, I'd have realized it long ago. I've never been able to see the world at all because Ashley stood in the way.
Yeah.
Finally, she realized
it wasn't really Ashley's fault. It was her fault, but true. He was the thing that she couldn't let go of. Yeah. Rhett never let me down.
And I was thinking too, her and Bonnie were so much alike, right? And then she has this moment where she's afraid of the dark. Like she doesn't fear anything really.
Yeah.
But she had that whole nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, also being hungry. She didn't want to be hungry.
Yeah.
but she had that.
Yeah.
And she's all encouraged, and she's just like she starts running
Like, I'm gonna get to him.
Yeah.
And fall into his arms.
Sadly, that's not what
I
happens.
know. She gets there and she comes in. So this is the last
63,
chapter,
chapter
63. And she doesn't see him, but she sees the lights on in the where is it? Dining room, and the doors are closed, but she's gonna go in, and he just says, "Come sit down."
I thought he was dead.
I thought he was gonna be dead too. I was scared, but
because she says his eyes were open and he's like not like he hadn't drank anything, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's gone too. This is terrible.
Oh, God.
And then when he speaks, I'm like, okay,
thank God.
All right, there's hope.
And he hadn't drank anything, so he's not drunk, which is
Right.
good. Like, this is good, but yeah. But he says she is dead. Like, she's dead. And she wanted to cry out, "I love you," but it's like she couldn't. Like something weird. Yes.
All the time.
And then he says about Melanie, "Well, God rest her. She was the only completely kind person I ever knew." And he keeps saying, he said this twice after this, a very great lady. Yeah. A very great lady.
And she recognizes that Melanie's the only person he respected, ever really respected.
And then he says, "So she's dead. That makes it nice for you, doesn't it?" Like he's thinking what I'm thinking about Ashley. Yeah.
Right. And she keeps like, well, it's not like that. And he already knows. He knows her thoughts all the time, so he already knows what she's gonna say.
Yeah, it's convenient to have the first wife's permission, isn't it? Because she says that had said that Melanie said to take care of Ashley and Bo, and then she even says something like, she wanted me to make sure that I, be kind to you, be kind to Captain Butler.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh.
But it doesn't make a difference. He's just done.
And he talks about divorce. Yeah. No, I don't want a divorce.
Did it ever occur to you that I loved you as much as a man can love a woman? I cared so much I believed I would have killed Frank Kennedy if he hadn't died when he did. I loved you, but I couldn't let you know it. You're so brutal to those who love you, Scarlett. You take their love and hold it over their heads like a whip.
It's true.
I mean, but it's like, I wonder if he would have just had some softness within sometimes, would she not have been so hard all the time?
I don't know. That was always just a back and forth. There was just never, it's the most annoying relationship. There was love, but it was just this, I don't know.
Neither
Somebody
one
was always
could
back.
let the other
Yes.
completely in.
Their pride just got in the way so much. And he says it was so obvious that we weren't meant for each other. Well, no, I don't think so. So obvious that I was the only man of your acquaintance who could love you after knowing you as you really are. Hard and greedy and unscrupulous like me. But he loved her. He loved her even in her brattiness and he knew her more than anybody else, and he still cared about that stuff.
He wanted to protect her, and you had such a struggle, Scarlett. No one knew better than I what you'd gone through, and I wanted you to stop fighting and let me fight for you. I wanted you to play like a child, for you were a child, a brave, frightened, bullheaded child. I still think you are a child. But it's like he wanted to be the strength for her, and she just still wouldn't let him be that.
And I mean, he says it's done. Like he's not going to divorce her or separate
Unless
from her.
she wanted to.
Yeah. But he's going to go away. He's going to, he says he'll come back. So he makes it so there's no gossip. He'll come back often.
Yeah.
So she's going to still have the money and have the house and but she says, "I want you, not that."
Yeah.
Finally, she's realizing that's not what it's about.
But it's
too late. Yeah. My dear, I don't give a damn.
Yep. Finally, we get that.
The second to last page. So what does she do in the end there? She's actually going to go back to Tara.
Yeah.
For a while, I guess. Not like she's going to live there, but...
I won't think of it now. I'll go crazy if I think about losing him now. I'll think of it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then she decided she'd gone back to Tara once in fear and defeat, and she had emerged from its sheltering walls strong and armed for victory, and she would do it again. And then I can just read the last very bit. When the spirit of her people, who would not know defeat even when it stared them in the face, she raised her chin. She could get Rhett back. She knew she could. There had never been a man she couldn't get once she set her mind upon him. I'll think of it all tomorrow at Tara. I can stand it then. Tomorrow. I'll think of some way to get him back. After all, tomorrow is another day.
See, that's why they should make the title that too. Because she said it more than once.
But I was thinking how we talked about before, how she had like, she kept trying to get a man, then she'd get a man, then lose the man. And like, she keeps trying to, and now here she's going to try to get Rhett again.
She's been through this too much. I mean, now she's 2 husbands and a child and 2
But I feel like maybe this time she has a good motivation, like a good,
you know. And now we really want to read the next book.
And see if that
Scarlett.
Anything
What
happens.
is it called? Scarlett.
Scarlett.
Yeah.
It's a sequel. I can't remember if that was the one that one wasn't the one that was endorsed or whatever by
Yeah, I think it was.
the family.
Yeah,
Okay.
that one was. Yes. Margaret
I thought it
Mitchell
was
did
that
write it,
other
but it was-
one, Rhett's People, or anyway.
This one, I saw that at a thrift store, Scarlett. I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
So I should have bought it.
Yeah.
Like I bought my little copy of this at the thrift store.
I'm not a purist, so I will like to.
I usually am like that, but I just now that I can't let go of it.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I
kind
let
of
go
a
of her.
cliffhanger. You want to
Yeah.
know.
Her and Rhett. Now I'm excited to watch the movie.
Did you? I was gonna ask you if you had a favorite character, or one you thought made the most growth. But I don't feel like anybody changed.
I feel like
Very
that
much.
we kept wanting Scarlett to change more, and I felt like she did have changes, but she still was still her. Like
Yes.
still, she just it was frustrating.
I think she
Her selfish just
had
never
it
left.
in her head. Like she was like, I want to do the right thing, but
Yes.
she just couldn't get over. Like couldn't.
She
get
did. I
past
feel
her
like
own
she did
self.
want to do the right thing, and I think she would want if Ellen was still around. Like I feel like maybe that would have been the
Support.
thing. She wanted to make her. She wanted to be better, but she just never. Yeah, little things. I feel like she did, but finally here, now it's like. But after all of that, like, why does it take? But sometimes for people, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
But death, it sucks when it has to be death and stuff. That's what it takes. But Melanie, I would say I was the most sad
Consistently,
about her, and because she was just such a good friend. I would want a friend like her.
Do you think she knew about them, Scarlett and Ashley?
I think so. I think she just.
But Ashley was committed and honorable, so she never had really a reason to.
Scarlett, I don't think she could ever. I don't know that maybe she. I don't know. Or maybe she just denial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, well, Scarlett is just so good to me and has done so much for us. I could never,
But that's just like, she seems smarter than that.
I know. She's just loyal.
But she was happy in her life.
Yes,
so.
exactly. Because she told Rhett, I have everything I want. I have my son and I have my husband. And Ashley never. I mean, even though he had this thing, he didn't actually stray, and he just had this weird thing with Scarlett.
Yeah.
And it was mostly her fault because he wanted to leave.
Yeah.
He wanted to get away from, but she.
All those times that they had these moments of indiscretion, she was pushing him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when they were out in the orchard or whatever, and he's chopping logs, she's like pressuring him, like, you love me, you love me, you love me, right? And he's
so
like, finally just says, I do, okay, fine.
But he wasn't coming out and just being like, Scarlett, we need to be. It was always her. Let's run away. Come do my mill. Come do that. You know what I mean? It wasn't ever him. So he just,
There was another question I had thought to ask you.
It was a very good book.
It was.
I never thought I would read a book like this, so I'm really glad I did because it just, it's really good literature. Like,
she's a good writer.
Yes.
There's not much that I got bored.
Yeah.
Just when I was feeling like this isn't going anywhere, something like drastic would happen.
Yeah. Every part had something that you're like, I didn't think it could get any, Yeah.
My other question was, did you have a favorite scene? Because there's so much, but is there one scene that you...
That's a good question.
The one that sticks in my memory, for some reason, is when Melanie's just had Beau, and they're like escaping to Tara. I don't know why, but that, where Rhett's like, I don't know, it got really exciting, like, oh my gosh, something's going to have to happen here, and he takes, he starts to take them, and they're like getting out of town. That always just sticks.
I think my end goal was always for her and Rhett to be together. So when they finally did, I was like, okay, finally, because I knew that there was something there,
and it wasn't her.
Yeah,
she didn't want it. He wanted. Like,
I knew he
wanted
liked
it.
her.
So
I mean,
different
for
than
him
her
to
other
keep coming
marriages.
around, and then when she married Frank, I was like, well, crap, here we go. Like, what is going to happen with this?
That made me so mad.
Gosh,
that was
so many things that she, like, come on,
But Sue Ellen ends up fine.
Yeah,
like,
I think her and Will, it was for the best. Yeah, and I feel bad that Frank died, and we didn't want it to end that way.
That was his own stupidity for being involved in that.
Yeah,
but it was also kind of her fault. So there's that.
Yeah, just like so much death, but that was just the time, I know too. But it's gotta be hard.
So yeah, you said we're gonna watch the movie. We're gonna watch the movie tonight.
Yes.
And we're gonna have a little waffle frolic, some southern food.
Yes.
And
fried chicken,
whatever.
corn pone, and so we'll video,
Yeah.
do a little thing about that. Yeah, and we'll put that on Instagram.
Or at
so.
least pictures.
Yeah.
Maybe
show
do
you
a
our
short YouTube video. We'll post it there too. Maybe.
Yeah. Looking forward to it now that we've ended it. So
Let us
It's
know what
really
you thought.
good,
If you have
yeah.
any comments below.
Yeah.
And
we've enjoyed, reading it and talking about it. That's been the best
Yeah.
part.
how long did it take us? I feel like we started at the end of June.
Yeah, it really didn't take as long as I thought. We were on top of it.
We
We
had to
both
press
just finished
through,
this morning, so.
Well, I mean, I don't know how old this copy is from the library, but this, like, there was a gold
Yours is
stamp here, and it's like worn off because it's been in and out of my bag.
Yeah.
There was a gold thing.
The winner
Winner of the Pulitzer
Prize.
Prize.
Mine has, I think mine has that picture from the movie probably. Of
Oh,
the characters.
mhm.
But it's the cover illustration.
We should do a short video at the end of like how we felt like the book was different from the movie.
That's good. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll compare the two.
And maybe
because
show some pictures of
The
it.
movie is really long though, so I think it's probably going to be one of the best. You know how movies
Close
usually they
to the
can't put
book.
everything, but
Mhm.
very close. Yeah, so I'll be interested to see.
Yeah.
It's just fun to see the characters in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. Put a face with it.
Yeah, especially like Melanie. Like I really want to see
Yes.
these people what the movie people
Yeah.
thought they looked like.
Yeah.
Looking
Okay.
forward to it. Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming along with us.
Exactly. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
See you later.